Hello, I'm Annette Young and welcome to the 51%, a show about women reshaping our world. Coming up, it looks as if female politicians, both in the UK and here on the continent, are going to be the ones attempting to clean up the mess in the wake of that Brexit vote. So with this in mind, we talked to Sophie Loussouarn, a political scientist, on how women are becoming the voices of reason on the British political landscape. And the Palestinian woman who's made it her life mission to save endangered indigenous crops in the West Bank. But first, it's been described as a political tsunami. This is both British and European governments attempt to navigate their way out of the chaos caused by the Brexit vote. But there's one constant emerging, and that it's falling onto the shoulders of female politicians to clean up the mess created as a result. Sophie Loussouarn has more.
Theresa May and Andrea Leadsom fighting to be Britain's next Prime Minister. Angela Eagle vying to lead the Labour Party, while Nicola Sturgeon is renewing calls for a new Scottish referendum on independence. After the dramatic resignations of David Cameron, then Boris Johnson, and then Nigel Farage, female politicians are picking up the pieces of British politics.
So we're seeing actually women emerging at a time of crisis. You could make the argument that they are stepping up to actually clean up house, and therefore the kind of gendered division of Labour within the parties themselves remains. So it's too early to say if this is a critical juncture.
While some EU leaders have adopted a more vengeful dialogue on dealing with the Brexit, German Chancellor Angela Merkel has been calling for calm. Across the Atlantic, Democrat hopeful Hillary Clinton could become the first female president of the United States and even pick a woman to be her running mate. The prevalence of women in political leadership is so widespread now that one German journalist has coined a term for it: femocracy. In rising to power, though, women are also putting themselves at great risk.
It's a difficult position at the moment for women, because we can also not forget the attack and the murder of Joe Cox before the referendum. So these trends are quite significant, but they're also very difficult for women who choose to expose themselves because they're likely to face much greater and different kind of criticism from that of men.
Criticism for not having children, for instance, often levelled against Angela Merkel and former Australian Prime Minister Julia Gillard. At the same time, Hillary Clinton has been criticised for talking too much about her role as grandmother, a sign that double standards are still very much present for women in power.
Sophie Loussouarn with that story. So, is this all just a happy coincidence? Or are we witnessing the collapse of the glass ceiling that's been blocking female power? Or is it simply once more the case of women sorting out the chaos? Now, here to talk to me about that is a French political scientist, Sophie Loussouarn, who's also written a number of books about British politics. Sophie, thank you so much for being with us. So let me start by asking you, is it just a case of synchronicity that we are seeing women politicians both in the UK and also in Europe stepping up to the plate, if you like, to sort of take charge?
Well, I think, we've got very experienced women politicians at the head of Germany. Theresa May has been Home Secretary for 6 years. She is certainly the most experienced politician, and she's got the grip, the stamina, to lead the negotiations between the UK and the European Union.
Sophie, at this point, I'd just like to take a listen to what long-time Conservative Party member Ken Clarke actually had to say about Theresa May.
I agree with what you said. I mean, Theresa's a bloody difficult woman, but you and I work for Margaret Thatcher.
That's the sort of criticisms that women tend to face when they're in positions of political leadership.
Exactly. She is certainly a new Margaret Thatcher, a new Iron Lady. But Andrea Leadsom declared on Sunday that she could be the new Margaret Thatcher, whereas she's only been Energy Minister for 2 years. And she has some momentum. She has struck a real chord with Conservative grassroots.
So it's not just in the Conservative Party where you're seeing women sort of coming to the fore and offering themselves as candidates for leadership. We're also seeing it on the Labor side with the likes of Angela Eagle.
Yes, Angela Eagle is ready to challenge the leadership of Jeremy Corbyn. She thinks that the Labour Party is undergoing an identity crisis and that she may be the one candidate able to solve the crisis of the Labour Party, which is even more divided than the Conservative Party to a certain extent.
But there is a feeling now within the UK that somebody is needed to clean up the mess post-Brexit. Why is it that women are seen as being better than men in order to do that job?
Well, as we've seen, Tony Blair has been such a controversial Prime Minister with the Iraq War, and David Cameron has played a huge gamble with the referendum on the European Union. So now, with the resignation of Boris Johnson, who launched the campaign for Brexit in order to promote his own political career, there is a feeling that the British electorate is tired of men who are playing with politics as a game, and that maybe women are better able to deal with real issues.
Do you think in world politics we've reached a stage now where the thought of having women leaders is no longer seen as a brave new step? If anything, it's seen as perhaps the better thing to do.
Well, it may be the better thing to do, you know, because we've undergone several crises and some male leaders have been unable to tackle the issue, and so maybe women will be better able to deal with the issues of renegotiating the relations between the United Kingdom and the European Union. Well, we know that Margaret Thatcher gave the European Union leaders a tough time.
Sophie, are older women politicians, I mean, not just in the UK, but around the world, are they having now their moment in the sun?
Well, to a certain extent, we see Hillary Clinton selected as the nominee of the Democratic Party. And for her, it has been a long time in waiting. She was the First Lady, she was Secretary of State, and now she may be the next President of the United States.
Sophie, I'm afraid we've run out of time. We're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And finally, in the midst of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, one woman is making it her life mission to save endangered plants from extinction in the West Bank. Iris Mackler and Perique Laurent went to meet Vivienne Sansour, who also wants Palestinian children to learn about their agricultural heritage.
This is Vivienne Sansour's favourite spot in Bethlehem, a shop selling seeds. She's a botanist collecting heirloom seeds for a new national program to preserve and share them. So not just any old seed will do. They can't be genetically modified. They have to be locally grown and organic, the seeds which are starting to disappear from Palestinian farming.
Okay, so this is really Khadir's secret stash. He has all these other things that are traditional, you know, conventional agriculture, but he keeps the good stuff in here.
Khadir Abu Ratas sources the original seeds, the good stuff as Vivienne calls it, from elderly farmers across the West Bank. He's also concerned that the seeds are disappearing.
These are the ancient seeds we always had, which we can no longer find easily. Once they disappear forever, like the dinosaurs, and we will never have them again.
We're gonna go try to find this elderly man, so we're going in the fields.
They're looking for older farmers. And here near the village of Wadi Fukin, they get lucky. They find 70-year-old farmer Abu Dia harvesting radishes.
This is the white cucumber.
This is very rare. I mean, he's one of the very few people left in Palestine who grow this variety. This is amazing.
Vivienne documents the visit, photographing and interviewing him.
All of this, what he's telling me, the stories he's telling me about how he got the white cucumber seeds from two elderly ladies, the way he is cleaning the radishes, and visually I think it's art.
Vivian's gathering all the seeds she finds and grows in a new national seed library, which had its formal opening in the West Bank during this week.
It's exactly how a book library works. You go, you get a little package of eggplant, and then you grow it, and then you are supposed to make seeds and bring back eggplants the next year for the library.
The library also includes a program to spread this information to schools across the West Bank, with the aim of returning these plants to the fields where they once grew.
And that's it for now. And if you'd like to comment on what you've just seen, you can head to our Facebook page. That's, of course, France24 51%, or do send us a tweet at _51%. Thanks for your feedback so far, and please keep those comments coming in. In the meantime, we're leaving you with a reworked version of that Spice Girls classic, Wannabe. It's been remade to promote a series of UN global goals, such as gender equality, ending child marriage, and education for girls. So until our next show, bye for now.
You wanna be my lover. You gotta make it last forever.